Welcome back to Live Now from Fox. I'm Jeanne Francine. We transition to other top stories and breaking news alerts on this Thursday morning. Right now, I want you to take a live look out in Khan Yunis, Gaza, as we are following breaking news as it relates to conflicts in the Middle East. Early this Thursday, AP reporting that the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says, quote, that a last-minute crisis with Hamas was holding up Israeli approval of a long-awaited agreement to pause the fighting in the Gaza Strip and release dozens of hostages, end quote. Meanwhile, Israeli airstrikes have killed dozens of people across the war-ravaged territory, according to the Associated Press. They go on to say Netanyahu's office said his cabinet won't meet to approve the agreement until Hamas backs down, accusing it of going against parts of the agreement in an attempt to gain further concessions. A lot to dissect this morning, so we want to bring into the conversation Fox 5 New York's Haley Fixler. Haley, good morning to you. What can you share with us at this hour?
Hey, good morning. Yeah, Israeli leaders are saying that Hamas is now making some new last-minute demands and are backtracking on previous arrangements and agreements. And as you mentioned, the Israeli cabinet, they were set to vote and approve the ceasefire hostage deal today, but that meeting has now been canceled. A lot of people were very excited yesterday when they thought this was a done deal, but now it looks like a waiting game.
A ceasefire and a hostage deal has been reached by Israel and Hamas.
In his farewell address, President Joe Biden shared with the country the details of the new ceasefire and hostage release deal he says his administration helped broker between Israel and Hamas. President-elect Donald Trump also sent his own envoy to work with Biden's group. He threatened there would be, quote, hell to pay if the hostages were not released by the time he took office. It's been 468 days since Hamas launched their attack on Israel on October 7th, 2023, taking 251 people hostage, including women and children, and killing more than 1,200 people. For the last year and a half, the war has killed thousands on both sides.
There's been so much death. So this has to happen.
While details are still being worked out, family members of those who were killed on October 7th have some hope for the other families impacted. Andrea Weinstein's sister and brother-in-law, both American citizens, were murdered in the terror attack. Hamas is holding their bodies captive in Gaza. Yifat Zayler's cousin and her family were kidnapped by Hamas. Kafir is the youngest of the hostages. He was taken when he was 8 months old. He will turn 2 years old in captivity on Saturday.
These days are horrible for us. It's time to end this. There won't be any more opportunities like this. It's time to bring home our people.
Officials confirmed the tentative deal will be broken into 3 phases over 42 days, originally set to begin Sunday. In phase 1, Hamas says they will release 33 hostages, including 2 Americans, 65-year-old Keith Siegel and 35-year-old Sagi Dekelchen. In return, Israeli officials are set to release 1,000 jailed Palestinian prisoners. The temporary ceasefire will also allow additional humanitarian aid to go into Gaza and the removal of Israeli forces from some areas of Gaza. Many on both sides are hoping this will signal better times ahead for everyone.
I hope this war will end and have peace between the Israeli and the Palestinian.
We are very hopeful that this will really take place because this has been a long struggle for the past 15 months. For all these innocent kids and elder people.
Now, if a ceasefire agreement is reached, a third American hostage, Edan Alexander, he's from New Jersey. He is set to be released in that second phase of the deal. The UN also says they'll add additional humanitarian aid to Gaza. Live at the UN, Haley Fixler, back to you.
Haley Fixler with Fox 5 New York. Stellar and detailed reporting. Haley, as always, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
I want to take you back out to Khan Yunis, Gaza at this hour, 6:18 here on the East Coast, and you can see how people have flocked to that area. Now, this is an area, as we know, that has been very prone to the conflict. You can see how buildings have been ravaged from the airstrikes on both sides. Concerns at this hour of what that post-war plan looks like. We know from the very beginning there was a lot of pressure on Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu from several world leaders to share what that post-war plan looks like, concerns of the looming humanitarian crisis. And if we're being frank, we know that humanitarian crisis existed far before October 7th began. But since the fighting, that humanitarian crisis has gotten far worse. Concerns about what UNRWA will do to help with basic necessities that innocent people in this area who had nothing to do with the war need in real time. So a lot of unanswered questions. And right here on Live Now from Fox, we are working to get those answers to you.